Yeah,
Actually,
I finished. Aloysius. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
what
go
I
ahead, Eddie. Yeah.
Eddie's point was very clear. There is a glaring lack of leadership, and I find it in many areas in society, because the global, the globalization of economics have made many leaders close one eye even to their own values, because at the end of the day, it's all about money. Money as a tool is very useful. It can do a lot of good. But money as a god is destroying the world.
I mean,
I think it's not only just money. I think it's certain agenda, political agenda or ideological agenda is also play into this whole thing, dividing and people. Because if you look at you look at our situation, well, our situation in Malaysia is not as bad as the situation in the US. We still have a lot of rooms to sit down, and like Sharo was a very good example. Okay, we will sit down, and then what he pointed out is really true. We need to sit down and we need to learn how to talk to people. And in order to know how to talk to people, we do need to know how to know the other person's the people that we talk to. We need to know their culture and their value system and stuff like this. So there is this bridge that we really need to build first, and then change cannot come overnight. You have to take small steps. When you talk about LGBT rights, I will go towards that you respect LGBT as human beings and give them basic human rights so that they are able to survive and so that they are being respected in society. So not to be made fun of all the time, and not to create a whole crisis when one transgender came out and say something, the whole police force nationally go and look for her, the kind of things. If we can actually bridge that bridge and make the message go across and say, hey, this group of people, they are human beings. We need to respect them as human and give them the human dignity. And if they can accept that and say, okay, we should celebrate, then we should celebrate. So we should, in fact, we need to find out what are the goals that we need to reach. Okay, if you want to change people's mindset. For me is that I will be very happy if our society was just, when it comes to LGBT, take a step. The church has done that. The Catholic Church has done that. Okay, Pope Francis is very clear. These are human beings. We need to accept and love them as human beings. And you can see the mindsets in the Catholic Church. A lot of them are slowly changing. So we need to change. This kind of thing has been around for generations. We need to change. We cannot just change overnight. And that is one of the problem I see that is happening in a lot of our activists, the NGOs, okay, fighting for human rights. They also need to be aware. Just because Sharo is a Malay and he's a Muslim does not mean that he will disrespect me. So usually people will look at him and say, oh, he's a Malay, and he must be very conservative, and you must. It's like that. So then he will become defensive. I didn't say anything. Why do you want to attack me as an individual and things like that? So that is one of the problem I see. Last time when I was younger, I was involved in some NGOs and stuff like this, and when they're fighting for rights, and that is exactly, there's no compromise. Either you agree with me or you are against me. But no, we do need to come from, like Willie said, we need to come to this compromise. We need to compromise, especially in our country, because we are actually a multiracial literally a multiracial, a multi-religious country. We do need to come to a point where we need to compromise and give up certain values that we and come to the middle point lah, basically. For me, it will be the respect. That's good enough. I don't even want to think about gay marriage or whatever and transgender rights operations. So I don't think about that. I'm more. I'll be very happy if people respect people as
All right.
people.
Yeah, that is granted to you. You should have respect and care for every human being in that sense. I cannot. I mean, to me, the thing is, I think Arun also, I think, is studying Sharia law. If you see the center of the Islam is all about justice, it's about humanity. If you really can, you have to beat them in their own ground, in their own platform. But probably, so I cannot. You said justice even is against your own self, even is against your own enemy. You know that person you don't like, But if you have to do something fair, you have to do it. Even at your own expense, even against your own enemy, you have to do it. And one thing that's very strong in the chapter 61 verses 3, God says, God, I try to memorize that verse. Said God hates people who preach, who don't walk His talk. But basically, the Quran didn't say that. God hate the most hate things that get the most loathsome. In the sight of God, basically those who say something but he didn't do it now. So that's to me one thing about justice, and people don't do that things. So Arun, if you to me that's a bullet, that we have to put forward, that people need to see that. Of course, when Arun cakap susah lah, but it's something that we have to walk our talk lah. To me that's super important in that sense.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know whether secularism or whatnot. To me, I see that Islam has no problem with secularism or anything, any religion.
Yes, see, because the idea of Islam, the Holy Quran itself, it is also written for the non-believers, the non-Muslims. Because if you take the ayat al-Hujurat, okay, and 49:13, it says, "Wahai manusia." So that means man for everybody. Okay, I made you from different colors, different tribe, and all the stuff for you not to differentiate, but for you to appreciate. So something of that sort lah. So, but again, see, it's also we see a total secularism, total. It is a book for humanity. You do not have to color code it. Okay, anyone that reads it and want to, he can be whatever religion in his mind, but he can just take the text and follow it. You will be a good citizen. You'll be a good human being. Whatever you want to label the person. No.
Yeah, that's only the first words I put for all my interface talk. That's to me, that's the spirit for you to know how Willie thinks, how Eddy thinks, how everyone thinks.
It's so beautiful. Can it be more beautiful than the Al-Hujurat 49:13? No.
Yeah. The best people in that thing, if you continue, the best people inside of God is the one that's most righteous, and God is all knowing.
Yes.
Not you knows that you are good, or he knows that who is good. No. Only God knows who is good.
Yes, I mean.
So you put it to that corner. So that's to me is supposed to be the spirit. But again, there is that tact. There's reality on the ground. So we need to do more on that thing. Of course, the boss is somehow in my court, and of course, the thing is, why I do what I do. To me, it's not about Muslim, it's not about Chinese. I think we all have our role to play. I that's why I call it. This one is about reflection. Something. What can you do at your end the best? Like being a Malay, being a Muslim in Malaysia, I have more responsibility rather than you guys. So you guys have your own small responsibility. I have bigger. So yeah, I'll try to do my best, what I can. Yeah, and it's not easy. But I've told Eddy I'll die first before I can change anything. No, seriously, but I don't mind. I just try to do it my own pace. I do this kind of thing, get more people on board. We try to talk sense. That's me. Yeah. Willie, you want to add anything?
I think maybe just to segue a little bit, we talked a lot about Malaysia, and a lot of things are very hard to deal with. Sometimes if there is a bigger problem or a bigger issue, people can change their perspectives a little bit. Sometimes, like national problems and whatnot, race problems. This is the reality that we live in. But back when we were, this is a story about like last time we were back in university. Me and a couple of friends were very idealistic lah. So we were talking about all the ways which the world can end. The climate crisis is an example, right? That's the one which everybody is very aware of right now. Although that probably won't end the world, but it can seriously damage the world economy. Imagine if all our paddy fields gets flooded up with rising sea levels at the river deltas and whatnot. You have food security problems. Wars is going to break out because of those kind of things. But there are a lot of other things, like we need to monitor asteroids coming close to the Earth. So many of these things are very, like, I'm a science geek kind of guy. I'm a space geek, actually, to be specific, right? And when we were actually looking up and thinking about all of these problems, it felt a lot more urgent, like somebody needs to do something about this. So that was one of the questions we were asking ourselves. When you are younger, I guess you actually, too much time on your hands or something, you sit down and you think about all these kind of things. And the literal term we were using, idealistic and innocent as it sounds, is saving the world, right? But I guess that is what we're talking about, right? With whatever your creed, your religion, or whatever it is, how many people you include into your circle, how much willpower you have to actually do something about it, whatever your belief system is, depends on how that sense of urgency, the problems you see, and how much. Like I think everybody here has said something along those lines. You're basically applying yourself the best way you can to make the most difference where you are, right? So you're in Malaysia. Let's try and do something about the problems we have here. But if we all have this kind of perspective, there are problems that we think we can be part of the solution of. I guess it's like a bit like keeping some of that idealism, right? Then maybe more of us will be doing something. The funny thing about that conversation we had, one of my friends said, if we're gonna change the world, right, we're gonna like save the world, whatever, we need to get really rich first. Like we need to have a huge ton of money. I said, how much money do you want to amass before you start making a difference? And he said 2 billion. I remember this number so specifically. We were next to the university track and field. We were sitting at the Astaka, and then we were talking about this, and I would say, like, so how much money, you feel that you can start throwing it around in order to solve the world problem? He said 2 billion. I think it was based on Bill Gates' total wealth or something like that at the time, because he was starting to, throw the money to solve world problems or whatever it is. But I don't think he has finished. And I don't think I don't think it works that way, right? Because every little bit of thing you do wherever you are is essentially making a difference. And if we can figure out how to activate more people to think along these lines, I think, because that's part of the problem, right? Everybody is sitting around and whatnot, but if more people can actually want to spend time doing something about it, that's the thing I was thinking last time. If more people, if everybody cared about other people, right? If each person care about 2 people, it's just maths, If one person, every single person in the world, if one person care about 2 people, at the end of the day, there will be more people caring about you than just mathematically. There'll just be more people caring about you, right? So you don't have to worry so much about yourself, right? So it's an activation problem, right? How many of the people you can go out there and do things and get into activism and all that?
It's so amazing. It's so amazing that.
Arun, you are muted.
No, you cannot help
Yeah.
everyone, but everyone can help someone. So that's kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or the MLM concept.
Can't hear me, is it?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so amazing that although Willie calls himself a humanist, but what he just shared about loving others is actually something all religions teach. That's why I said, is it a nation in crisis or crisis of faith? So for each of us, we already believe, we all have our beliefs, our belief system. But finally, it's about that. Arun is working so much to care for the poor and needy. Eddy, for me, he's doing. Eddy is a very important character to me
Yeah.
because his
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
field of his whole field of study. For your information, Eddy teach world religion, right?
Yeah.
Is that So he has a very broad perspective, and I agree with him. Even words, like like secular, they are words lah. So even like religion, different names, but I'm so amazed that Willie, of all persons, shared the basic things about all our faith, about
Yeah.
caring and loving at least another two persons. Thank you. Thank you, Boon, for bringing Willie into the picture, and Arun and Eddy.
At the end of the day, if you believe in God created human, and then also from the Christian's perspective, God created human in God's image. We have the values of God in us. It doesn't really matter what faith you're in. Okay, so actually, the other day there is this talk show. I think it was Boon Talk. No, it was during the humanist talk, and somebody asked the questions: if you don't have God, how do you know what is right and wrong? We don't need God to know what is right. How is what is right and wrong? We only need us as human, because in part of being human is being moral. That separates us from the rest of the creatures. Okay, being moral, we know what is right and wrong. Okay, so we don't really need a God, but from a faith perspective, God has created all human and given us the ability to differentiate what is right and wrong. So we are responsible for that at the end of the day. Okay, so that is part of being human. Responsible for justice, responsible for love, responsible to correct what is right and wrong. So don't be surprised humanists can come up with these values, because it's already embedded in us. It's part of humanity. Okay, we don't need religion to know what is right and wrong. I mean, throughout history until now, we have enough human history and human experience to actually know what is right and wrong already. Okay, on this, if you look at human history.
Okay, thanks, Eddy. I think we probably going to stop. Probably 11:30. Probably we go one round into that. But on that Eddy points, I disagree usually. But I think there is a universal that people are basically they are inclined to do good things. I mean that's universal good and stuff like that. But there's still ontological and philosophical questions about what is right and wrong. There are even a deeper discussion in that topic itself. But I wasn't into that debative mode during that. I just want to listen more and probably talk during the Willie session. Probably we're gonna have a deep, and probably you also can join in that sense. Not to say that I don't want to go into dialogue that you want to win an argument. To me, that is futile, and that's not the intention. Okay, guys. I think can we conclude probably what are the can we conclude what are basically the root cause and probably how can we move forward from here from today? Can we get? I'll get start from probably Arun. You start the day.
I think eventually all of us have to put our hands and heart together, and and not only to envision the country that we like to see, but also work towards it. And that's it. There's no one way is right, but it has to be a collaborative, and that the narrative that we're going to make for Malaysia, for Malaysia tomorrow, must be collaborated and must be an aggregate of all the races in Malaysia, and it has to be fundamentally putting the humanity first.
Thanks, Arun.
Wonderful.
Probably you can put the Gandhi words there. Be the change you want to be. That's a cliche there.
Yeah.
So Willie again. So this is your last final before I conclude.
I guess like thinking about like morality and all those kind of things is fundamentally people needs to be in a good place, I suppose, right? If for us to start talking about values and whatnot, people need to have basic subsistence, I guess, right? That need to be taken care of and all that. And I think like from the beginning of the thing, Arun was talking about politics and all those kind of things. How is actually a major part of this. If society was running correctly, we would actually be having people come into positions of power in order to serve others, right? And that's, I guess, eventually that is something that we want to work towards. That's an ideal that is worth striving for, because essentially that's what politics and politicians are supposed to be. They are people who are serving all Malaysians, right? They're supposed to be doing things, and if we get that right, I think the differences aren't that big. As people in the country, the basic needs are the same for everybody anyways, right? We can nurture everybody's differences even, right? Because diversity is a good thing. We fight to keep languages and cultures alive because we don't want to be in a world without this colorful tapestry of differences, right? We enjoy food because of all the differences and whatnot. So I think at the base level of it, if we get the intentions right, then I think a lot of things can move along well. Yeah.
Thanks, Willie. I just don't agree with that. The intention is quite good to start with. Even like Arun said, being the politician, probably I think the politicians during the old days are probably basically are all okay. It's just that when you're in power, when you are, nobody can bring you down, so you're being more complacent and you start drifting. So, being the top is okay. But sometimes to maintain that certain things, to maintain that integrity, that is the key thing. That I think that where we are sliding into what we are now. I think so. It's not easy to maintain a certain level of integrity when you are at the top. When you at bawah sini cakap senang. No, seriously.
Yes.
Arun, when Arun become a politician besok, I pun dia tak kenal. I'm too busy lah, Syarul. No.
Oh, Shaul. Buddy.
No, just joking. No, some people can say,
If you become a menteri, I am your PA, okay?
I'm not really interested into that now. I mean, I got too many things. I don't like to be doing the politics, getting people to vote for you. So that is really something I don't want. I rather do something. I like to work, but I don't want working for people to vote you. That is to me So I appreciate somebody else is doing it for me. I just make sure that good people are fighting that. Actually, I'm doing interviewing all the 222 MPs, probably as much as I can, starting from probably next for 3 weeks. I just want to ask certain few things, whether you still do what your leaders tell you to do, whether you don't agree with the jump party and stuff like that. What motivates them, stuff like that. Never mind, Eddy, that's me and my staff. I'll have a few things to do. Eddy, your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, okay. We talk so much about people trying to do something, and which I totally agree, because that is one of the beauty of living in a democracy. Because one of the major components of democracy is we help ourselves. And so people has to have the mindset that we help ourselves. We cannot depend on the government. Okay, the government is just there to maintain law and order. And in a democracy, we help ourselves. So, and we need to do something. And then also, we also need to be aware that, maybe I'm just one person. I cannot do much. We don't know, and you don't know, because a lot of times the power of one. This is one of the things that went from a very young age. I learned about that. The power of one. You look at Gandhi. It's only one person. There is no 10 Gandhis. He changed India. Okay. Mother Teresa is another one. Okay, just one person. We just take one person. Abraham Lincoln is another one. So we may think that we are so small, we are insignificant, but if we start doing something, like Sharon, you start doing something, you have already put 4 of us here and talk, okay? And you don't know, it will snowball. Maybe one day you will be forced to be a politician, you're not sure. You don't know. But whatever it is, we just start small. You can change. You help 2 person, really. Help 2 person, this 2 person will go and help the other two more persons, they are help. It's an exponential growth. And then these people whom you have helped will come back to help you also at the end of the day. So we need that. So within our own capacity, we should start helping. We should start doing something. And the most important thing is ourselves. We need to start changing ourselves first. That is the most important.
Thanks, Eddy. I couldn't agree more. That's very, very true. And I think for that Ponzi scheme, we need Willie to help now. To how people helping people. Probably Arun also got a platform. It's a
The helping people pyramid scheme.
Yeah, pyramid scheme. Yeah. So we have to do that thing with creative ways of how to make this thing happen. This small project. Yeah, Aloysius, you are the basically Pencadang for this talk. We can conclude.
It confirms to this discussion that it's a crisis of faith for each one of us personally. We need to act on our beliefs, and that's personal. And finally, we all have our own calling. There's no better calling. Each is still a calling. So I think we need to go back to really, why am I here? Why am I on this earth? What's my purpose? And sometimes the fast world does not give us that space to ask that question. And that's the reason why when I put the word P there, pause, is very important. Because all of us here, we belong to one race. Arun, the human race, correct?
Yeah.
We all belong to the human. And I like to give this analogy to Boon. I said, look at the Fraser FNN factory.
Yeah.
It's got Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
It's got Sasi. It's got 100 plus ice cream soda. Yeah. But it's all from the same factory, right? Same. All of us as part of the human race. We belong to a same source. You can call it whatever you want, but you need to be faithful to what you believe. And that's the only thing we are accountable, each one of us. Like for today, I really like to take, it's very simple act that if every day I can love 2 new people and help other people also love 2 new people, then the world will be a better place. Maybe not in my lifetime, but at least for our children and the future generation. So thank you everyone for joining me in this conversation, because I'm learning also a lot.
Thank you, Aloysius, for that, very thoughtful last few words. Of course, I do agree. For some reason, I think how Aloysius thing, we're talking about, you pause, you think why you are here and stuff like that. I share with him. He just that, but I told him when he sent me the Nation in Crisis article, the first thing that came to my mind, I totally agree, but I just think this is not a Malaysian problem. I told him, this is a global problem. In fact, in outside, it's even much worse in that sense. We are going towards that direction, the whole humanity in that sense. And of course, we are all human. I think you are basically all my long lost brother. We cannot be coming from different parents. We are in this planet. Somebody, it's just illogical. We all got 2 eyes and 2 ears. We must be brothers in that sense. I
You
believe
must
that.
be, because you have the beard.
To me, it doesn't matter. No. So I don't understand why should fight over what we believe and stuff like that. We are supposed to know each other and help each other. That sort of that what you're talking about. To me, that is essence to make this thing. Life is beautiful. Of course, we have problem. We always talk about even dolphin got problem, cats got problem, and we are here basically to make this world a better place. In fact, I watched the Hunger Games. They said that when they won at the last, they said, so the human will start to decline in the sense that because there is no problem to focus on, because basically everything should be okay. So I was so surprised when they mentioned that. So it's a good thing that we have problem to manage, to handle. At least we can focus our energy to make this world a better place. At least those who are seeing this. And at the end of the day, we can do what we can. So with that, I thank you guys, Aloysius, untuk mencadangkan topik ni, and especially those who are very patient listening on the Facebook Live, and those watching after the show. Arun, thank you very much. Eddy, Willie, thank you for coming. I apologize for any of my shortcomings. I hope I learn from all you guys. I hope the rest also can learn. With that, thank you very much. Until next time, stay safe, be fair, and stay awesome. I love you guys.
Bye-bye.
10 million times. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hi everyone, terima kasih kerana menonton sampai habis video tadi. Jika awak suka dengan video tadi, boleh tekan tombol like. Kalau awak rasa dia bermanfaat, mungkin boleh sharekan kepada yang lain. Dan kalau awak rasa berminat, mungkin boleh tolong subscribekan sekali, sebab saya insyaAllah akan membuat video seperti ini setiap 2 minggu sekali. Saya ada di Boon Talk Show di FB, YouTube dan juga Instagram. Cuma Instagram ni kurang sikit. Tapi kalau tuan-tuan ataupun puan tak suka, boleh tekan tombol dislike. Dan kalau boleh nyatakan juga kenapa tak suka, mungkin dekat situ saya boleh improve. Kalau yang suka tadi pun boleh nyatakan apa yang bagus dan saya akan cuba kekalkan atau tingkatkan lagi. Okey, tujuan saya buat benda ni adalah untuk contribute, untuk menyumbang, untuk menjadikan dunia kita lebih baik daripada apa yang ada sekarang. Jadi topik-topik yang saya akan bawakan berunsurkan ilmu yang bermanfaat ataupun sumber-sumber inspirasi. Jadi kalau ada apa-apa cadangan topik ataupun speaker, boleh terus message saya sama ada di Facebook ataupun di YouTube. Saya jarang tengok. Kalau ada nombor telefon, tolong message saya terus. Itu saja. Terima kasih daripada saya. I love you 7 billion times. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Bye.